our mantra is do it right or don't do it. And our other mantra when we're working with customers and projects is hell yes or no. It's either the best fit out there and we're so excited to do it, or we can't take it on.
Hey, good morning, everyone. John Fenton here, the CEO Sensei, and I'm with my great friend, Jahn, CEO. And Jeff, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Great to have you on. And Jeff, you and I have known each other, I guess, about a year now. So tell me more about your company. So from there, you decided you were going to earn a way to have a security system for the car that you love. Tell me more about what happened.
Yeah. So I was a shy kid. I call myself a recovering introvert. I used to be so shy that I would bump into people at the grocery store and stuff because I was looking at my feet. And so I spent 3 months, taught myself how to design and code, built a website for this company, and couldn't procrastinate anymore from there. And put on a dress shirt and drove an hour to their office from Barrie and just walked up and said, hey, you have a site. It's not very good. I built you a new one. Can I have an alarm system? And I was so nervous that I broke out in a big red rash all over my neck and everything.
Wow.
And I think that's the only reason the sale happened, because while I was in the middle of this terrible pitch to this poor girl who was subjected to my walking up and talking to her, the sales guy walks by and he says, dude, what's wrong with your face? And I was like, God, man, they don't know who I am. I can run and change the logo and give this to somebody else in a couple weeks, or I can just pretend I never did this and be done with it. But I was like, I'm already here. I'm wearing a dress shirt. I might as well, see this thing through. And so he said, what did you eat for lunch? And I was like, a burger. And he was like, that must be it, man. You must be allergic to burgers. And I think the girl took pity on me. She's like, oh my gosh, this kid is going to burst into tears here in a second if I don't train him alarm system. And her response was basically, people come and pitch us a new site every week. You're the first person who came in with something done. It's better than what we have. It's cheap. Let's do this. So awesome. That was my first site. And then went from there to do a site for Dub Magazine and Audioban back when they were around. And so they fiberglassed my dashboard and put a great stereo in and everything, and got out of that and said, okay, that was cool, but I think I want to make this a real business now. And so kept going. Senior year, had a full-time person, and got kicked out of my house because my roommate decided to propose to his girlfriend 6 months before school ended. And so I had to buy a house an hour away from school, and did that, plus hiring our first guy who's still with us the same weekend. And I had $2,500 in the bank. This was back when to buy a house, you just had to show that you've been paying a phone bill for a couple months.
Right.
And so I worked basically every waking minute, was taking 18 hours of classes, 2-hour daily commute senior year. I don't remember any of it. Was just exhausted, and got out of that, and then the real estate market crashed.
Right.
And spent the next few years just basically working 2 jobs to pay my guy and to cover my mortgage and to build software. And so we just kept, as long as we can pay the basics, that's what we are. And stayed that way for the next several years, and finally hired another person. Now we're up to 16 people. So
awesome. So how long have you been in business now with your company? How long have you since you incorporated?
It's been 15 years.
Awesome. Yeah. That's really awesome. So tell me, going back to that first sale, right? And what did it take from you being now you're a so-called recovering introvert, right? But you obviously were very shy, right? You broke out into this rash. It had to be really embarrassing, I would think, right?
Absolutely.
And what did it take from you to overcome that situation? What do you think it took from you?
I don't think I felt like I had a choice, really. It was just one of those things that I felt like I needed to do. And it's taken me a while to trace back to it. I've always felt sort of behind in life, and I don't know why, but I've always felt like just a burning drive to push things forward and grab and pull. And, you know, I've been inventing things since I was a little kid, and I just don't know how to sit still. And so this was the next logical leap to being able to push things forward. And it was terrifying because I had never made a sale. And, you know, in high school, when I started that first thing, people found out about me and they called me, and I said, sure, I'll go do it. And this was my first time having to actually kind of put myself out there and say, hey, I think I can do this. I'm not sure that I can do this because I haven't done it before, but let's experiment together and see if this turns into something.
You really have an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just too stubborn to know what's good for me.
So, you know, obviously, you've seen a lot of ups and downs in the last 15 years, and certainly we're in a really crazy time. You were telling me last week we were talking, and you were telling me about some really cool things you've been doing with your company and helping your customers. And tell me more about that. I want our listeners and the people who are watching this to learn more about some of the cool things that you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. So first of all, I felt like, you know, coming out of college directly into basically a market crash and no one wanting to spend any money and all that, and still being that introvert who was afraid to go talk to people and trying to go make sales, I've always had this sort of scar tissue of it's when, not if, that something bad's going to happen again. I need to have us prepared. We need to be safe. You know, every person that works for us, I want them not worrying about whether they're going to be safe. And so a couple of years ago, we really started focusing on how do we create safety and how do we be prepared for whatever is going to come. Obviously, none of us had any idea it was going to be this. Just knew there was going to be something, and I didn't want it to take us out. And so us being very aggressive in terms of pushing things forward and conservative in terms of financials and making sure that we weren't creating a high burn rate and everything, put us in a really good position going into this. And, you know, our mantra is do it right or don't do it. And our other mantra when we're working with customers and projects is hell yes or no. It's either the best fit out there and we're so excited to do it, or we can't take it on. And so as soon as this started and we went remote for COVID, I told all my guys, because I knew they were going to do this anyway, and I just didn't want any ambiguity around it. I said, everything COVID related is free from a client support standpoint. So they need alert bars, they need this, they need that. We're doing all of this stuff for free.
What's the best way they can reach you again?
Just hit LinkedIn and type in Jeff. Last name is Jahn.
Awesome. And I'll put all the information in the show notes so you can see it in text. Again, Jeff Jahn,
for having me.
Yeah, CEO of DynamiX.
Yep, DynamiX.
DynamiX, and just a great person, a giver. And this is John Fenton, the CEO Sensei, saying, see you next time.